All right, so it's going to be another bad movie review. This is going to be on Hurry Up Tomorrow from last year. It's directed by Trey Edward Schultz. It is the Weeknd's movie from last year. There was a clip going around. Everybody like, oh, he's terrible, acting wise, but he was really bad in The Idol too. So it's like people expected it. I watched The Idol. I thought The Idol was horrible, and so I was like, okay, I guess I'll check out this and see just how bad he is and how bad the movie is. But I didn't get the chance to last year, so that's what we're doing today. I watched this yesterday, and I did not think this would be this bad. I mean, it's really not a movie, really. It is so blatantly a vanity project for the weekend. I mean, to a really cringy level by the end of it. So in this, we have the weekend playing the weekend. Abel Tesfaye, I think that's how you say his last name. He's a musician, just like in real life. He's basically himself. Right? He's performing and things like that. He's having issues with his vocal cords, this tightening in his throat, because he's really stressed out because his girlfriend left him. He really loved her and everything. She left him a voicemail basically saying he's a terrible person and that she was done with him. And so now it's just him being really stressed out, doing drugs and things like that, still performing, but it's getting harder and harder to do because of his vocal cords. And he's constantly leaving her voicemails and things like that. He keeps telling his friend Lee, played by Barry Keoghan, his friend, they're like brothers, but he's also part of his team. Whatever, he might have been his manager, but he's also telling him to call. And Lee's just like, "Hey man, you got to move on. We got to keep doing what we're doing. We need to focus." But he can't. He's constantly leaving voicemails and things like that to his ex. So he ends up meeting Anima, played by Jenna Ortega, while he's on stage, and his vocals really just give out, and he's really just bombing on stage. So so he sees her out in the audience, and he, for whatever reason, is really fixated on her. So she ends up getting backstage, sneaking backstage, and he's like, "Hey, you wanna go with me?" And she says, "Yes." So they spend the night together. They play games and things like that. They're out together, and then they get this nice hotel, and he's playing his unfinished music, and then they end up spending the night together. After that, he pretty much loses all interest in her, and he's like, "Look, I gotta go," and things like that. And she does not take that well. There's so little of an actual story to this. Let's get to positives. So I think it's shot well. I think it's good cinematography, good production. I think the performance scenes are really good too. Abel is terrible. The weekend is terrible when it comes to acting. We'll get to that, but he actually has screen presence whenever he's on stage and he's doing his music and things like that. His music is good in this. I think that song that he performs is good. When he's doing the thing that he's known for doing, he can be good. Imagine that. When it comes to the acting, it's mainly the actual actors in this, Jenna Ortega and Barry Keoghan, that you can actually get some emotion out of. Because there's scenes with Barry Keoghan as Lee and Abel, and he's trying to get Abel on stage and then want to go out there. And he's like, "Oh man, remember we had nothing." I believe he said they left school to do this, and Abel's mom wasn't happy about it. And he's like, "Oh man, you saved my life. You saved my life." And I was like, "Wow, I actually feel something." Between these characters, and everything, it's because of him. So we also have Anima, Jenna Ortega's character. Her father left, and the mom raised her, but then she ran away and things like that. And so she's crying about it. And then her mom actually calls and goes off on her, saying, "Oh, you ruin everything you touch and everything." And she starts crying. And I was like, "Okay, I feel something here." It's like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be when it comes to actual actors. That's it. Let's start off with the elephant in the room. The weekend, he's terrible in this, right? Like you had the scene that went around. He's going off on Jenna Ortega, right? People were making fun of that scene online and stuff like that. And that is a terrible scene. That's one of the worst scenes in the movie when it comes to his acting. But he is bad throughout. Right? Like most of the time, he's awkward. He seems lost. Like even just looking at his facial expression, he's out of his depth. Right? You could just see it that you're just not getting what you're supposed to get from this character, even when he's not going off or doing anything. But when he's really bad, like that scene that went around, is when he's doing these scenes that are more demanding. Like he really has to crash out or yell or anything like that. It's like that scene where he's going off on his ex on the phone. He's leaving her a voicemail.
I'm fucking still here, and you'll be forgotten, and I'll be remembered because I'm a fucking legend. I'm a fucking legend, and you're a fucking nobody.
Whenever he has to really go off, crash out, yell, things like that, that's when he is terrible. That is when it is like, okay, he's really fighting Ice Cube from War of the Worlds of last year, for the worst performance of last year. Like, that's when it's really, really terrible.
Open the door!
I told you.
I know, it's my fault, it's my fault, I know!
You fucking pushed me.
I
I
know!
fucking told you.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry!
Fuck you.
Sorry, okay?
Fuck you.
Okay, ah.
There's just so little actually going on here story-wise. Like, I was confused. It's like, okay, you have Abel, and he's hung up on this girl that left him, that he loved, and he's heartbroken and things like that. He keeps trying to call her and things. He's stressed out, and he's having issues with his vocals. I mean, he's doing drugs and things like that. But it's like, okay, what else we got? It's like there's just not much to it, and you're not really developing all the characters or the story all that much. It's like, okay, what are we doing here? But then you also have Anima, Jen Ortega's character. You have a scene or scenes of her with no lines, and she burns down her house. She drives away in a truck, and then she ends up stealing gas from some guy who's filling up his truck. She uh, takes the nozzle and fills up a gas can and leaves. We don't know who she is. She's not, she doesn't have any connections with the weekend. The weekend doesn't know her either. It's like, okay, what are we supposed to think about this character? We're just watching a character we don't know do things with no context. It's like, what's the point of it? So then she goes to his concert, and it's like, okay, what's even the context of her going to the concert? She just ran away at the concert. And Abel, he's performing and he's messing up. And his vocals are getting messed up. And for whatever reason, he looks out into the crowd and he sees her and he's fixated on her. It's like, why? She doesn't look like his ex-girlfriend. We've seen pictures of her. She doesn't look like her. It's like, why are you so fixated on her? And then she goes back there and, he's like, I feel like I know you. And so I was like, where's that coming from? So then they spend time together, spend the night with each other. And he wakes up and he does not care about her at all at that point. He's like, she's like, oh, where to next? And he's like, I don't know, where the tour takes me. And she said, I think you're going to Australia. She's like, oh, I would like to go to Australia. And he's like, yeah, you should someday, or something like that. I mean, he does not care about her at all. And this is where we get that clip that everybody was laughing at.
Shut the fuck up. Shut up. What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? I have to go right now. I'm getting calls. I have to catch a flight. I'm on a tour. I'm trying to be fucking nice.
It's crazy. He really does flip on a dime. Like, it seems like he's into her. He seems like he has some fixation on her for some reason. And once he wakes up, he just does not care about her at all. It's weird. It feels out of character. And he's really being an asshole. Like, at first he's dismissive, then he starts going off. And he's like, oh, I tried to be nice. I gotta go. I gotta fucking go. And it's so bad. It doesn't feel natural or anything. It's just really awkward. It does feel like he's kinda just, like, coming up with things to say, just in the moment. It's so bad. She knocks him out, and she ties him to the bed, and then it becomes, like, this really extreme therapy session where she's trying to get him to open up and say, how he's feeling and why he won't talk about his feelings and, what was so special about his ex and why he actually loved her and didn't treat her like he does other girls and like he did Anima. And it's like, what is this? It's like this could be an actual plot, like of the crazed fan with spending the night with the weekend and then tying him up to a bed when he tries to run out on her. Like that could be an actual plot, almost like Misery. But the movie is like at this point, I think the movie there's like 30 minutes left in it or 40. Is like nothing has happened up to this point, right? The movie is mainly just padded out with, these visions and dream sequences and stuff like that. When she knocks him out, he has this dream sequence of him walking down the street and taking an elevator. At one point, I think he's looking at, I guess, a younger version of himself, maybe, but it's like a little boy. And it's like, what is that all this supposed to mean? It just feel like it's just padding the runtime and trying to be deep. After she ties him to the bed, that's when we get the real cringe. Right. I hate when musicians or whoever decides they want to force their music or force their stardom or whatever into a fucking movie. Right? I fucking hate that where the movie just becomes so sycophantic towards them and shit. And it just feels like they're just like, yeah, yeah, make the movie like basically suck me off. So she starts playing his music and saying how his music is actually more emotional and deeper than people think. And she starts playing Blinding Lights. And she's like, "Oh, you think this?" She starts dancing. She's like, "Oh, you think that this song is just about partying and having a good time?" But if you actually look at the lyrics, these the lyrics are actually more emotional. It's like this isn't you're not even really going in depth all that much. It's like, yeah, just pay attention to the fucking lyrics. Like and she's dancing and stuff, and then she ends up playing another song, that's not all that popular. And she's all like, "Oh, it wasn't all that popular on Spotify or whatever." It's like, what the fuck? It's like he's telling us it's like he's talking about that to us and things. Like, it's weird. It's like this is cringe. Like having a character play your music and say how your music touches them and how your music is so emotional and things like that. It is it is really cringe, like, it's shameless. At this point, Lee comes in, because he tracked, Abel's phone, and so he ends up at that hotel room, and he forces his way in, and then him and Anima, they get into a fight. He starts to choke her, she stabs him in the neck, and he dies right there on the floor. And so after that, she pours gasoline on on Abel while he's on the bed and all over the bed, and she acts like she's going to set him on fire. So then he starts singing and getting all emotional, talking about "Mama, I'm sorry" and all this other stuff. And she looks at him and she's like, "Oh my god, that was beautiful." And you get a scene of her untying him and everything, and then he's just walking away, like walking out the hotel room and stuff. And then he's just backstage before another show, and it's like, okay, what happened with Anima? What happened with Jenna Ortega's character? Like, she'll probably get off on self defense either way, but like, she did kidnap him. She did kill his best friend slash like a brother to him. What happened with her character? You get no resolution for that character. The character was barely developed in the first place, but it's like, the things with her mom and things like that. What's the future hold for her? And then the whole thing with Lee is like, really? Like, none of the other people on your team backstage are asking where he's at, are mourning him if they know that he's dead, are trying to console you from his loss. It's like it's like both those characters just don't exist after that. It's like, okay, and this is me thinking the movie is at least trying to be deeper than it actually is, but did neither of them exist? Because in the song that he performs, he says, "Are you real or are you illusion?" And I was like, "Okay, was that foreshadowing? Is she not real? Is he n was Lee not real up to this point?" And I was like, "Okay, but that neither of those makes sense. It doesn't make sense for either of these characters because at the beginning of the movie, we saw Anima set her house on fire and steal that gas. That was before she ever even met Abel. It's like, so that couldn't be in his head if it's stuff that happens that he's not involved in and he didn't even know her. So that doesn't make sense. And then Lee, I was like, okay, is there any points where Lee is interacting with other people? And it's like, yeah, him and Abel were partying in that in that truck, doing drugs and drinking and stuff with those girls. And then also there's a point where it's like right after that where a bunch of people are over and they're doing cocaine and doing stuff. They're doing other stuff and he's like on the ground humping the air and stuff, and people are looking right at him. So it's like, okay, he couldn't have been an illusion, or he couldn't have been fake. Neither of them could have been. So it's like, okay, this movie just pretending to be deep, I guess. I guess. I really don't know what it was all for, other than to be a blatant vanity project for the weekend. It's just like, this is nothing, right? It's the weekend wanted to make a movie where he gets hyped up and he gets a character to praise his fucking music in front of him while he's tied up on a bed. It's like it is just so like I said, it's shameless and embarrassing. It just is, man. Like this is an embarrassment. I'm a fan of the weekend. I really like his music. Man, this is just it's yeah, I'm embarrassed to be a fan watching this. I really am, man. You really have her just dancing there to your music, talking about your music and how emotional it is. I could not believe that. I couldn't believe you went that far. Anyway, yeah, this is definitely one of the worst movies of the year, of last year, and it would have definitely been on my list if I'd have seen it in time to make my list last year. So yeah, that's Hurry Up Tomorrow. I'm giving it complete shit. It's obvious it's getting my lowest rating. Yeah, that's it. Wow. Subscribe and we're done.